Right now, most cities and states allow companies and municipalities, for that matter, to ask job applicants about their criminal histories. If you ever filled out a job application, you probably know what I'm talking about. Check the box up. Have you been convicted of a felony? Now, critics of that say it makes it from hard to next to impossible for these people when they get out to actually find jobs. But there is a push in the city of Newburgh in the Hudson Valley to ban the boxes, they call it, on job applications. That refers to that yes boxes I just mentioned on applications for people with criminal records that they have to check. Newburgh City Council considering whether to remove that question on the application. Okay, I can make it better than anybody because my brother's very involved with a project that helps educate inmates behind bars. The guys don't go back. They've done their time. They're competent. They'd be a benefit to a workforce. But they will tell you as soon as they check the box off, because they're not going to lie, they don't get asked back for a second interview, even if the first interview went gangbusters. So the question is, I'm an employer now. I'm looking to hire for a position in my accounting department. If I don't know that this person was convicted of embezzlement, right? What will my employer say to me if I'm the HR department, I'm recommending this guy for employment when this guy has stolen multiple times before, to make an example? Shouldn't I know? Or am I creating a cycle that never gets broken if they have to say yes in the box?
Well, I think that when you have to say yes in that box, you're just excluding everybody who's had a criminal conviction for the most part, because typically you're not going to even get into an additional interview. And if you look at it, a lot of states actually have expungement statutes. You can go to Mississippi, and if your felony is more than 10 years old, it can be expunged.
Well, what do you do in the 10 years you get out?
Well, but in New York, you can't get it expunged. In New York, there is no 10 years. In New York, it stays with you forever. So you could have done something at 18 years old, you got into a fight, and you pled to a misdemeanor, or maybe even you drove and you were drunk, pled to a misdemeanor. It's a crime. You could be 91 years old, and when you go to apply for a job, you still got to check that box off.
Yeah, but you know something, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm very sympathetic to the argument, and I agree with you that so many of these people that do their time, they pay their price, they come out, they can be productive, they're never going to go back, they're not going to be a recidivist. But that's part of the price that you pay, and I would hope that the more we publicize this, the more that will be a deterrent to some of these people to not get involved in the first place, because you're absolutely right. You have a right to know. Your company has a right to know that a particular individual has this prior conviction and was prone to this conduct before.
Okay, but then, Dougie, what's the point of, if we call it, even if it's BS, the point of prison is rehabilitation. They do their time, they do the crime, but they do the time. Then are we really saying, yeah, but not so much?
Yeah, but I think we constantly say that. Nobody's saying that if you go to prison, you start with a fresh slate when you get out. I mean, everybody knows if you go to prison that you're limited for the rest of your life in some way. The bigger question, the bigger issue that you're talking about, a societal issue, is why are these people going to prison? And why are good people applying for jobs after prison and not getting them? Why can't they skip the prison in between and just get the job right out of high school?
They're still going to have the conviction without the prison, but I agree, there's all these drug programs now where you go into a drug program, you complete it after a year, your charges are dismissed.
If I'm the employer and I'm an employer of substance with substantial resources, I'm doing the background check anyway, so it's an academic issue.
But some employers don't have that, and they rely on that application here to say, this is who he or she is. We're not always talking about controllers of companies or whatever else.
And to Mayo's point, a lot of times the records are sealed in New York, so you can't get at them anyway.
You guys, by the way, know whenever I try and do this, I'm trying to go to a break,
right.
And you just disregard it completely.
What is it?
Air traffic control. And by the way, segue. The airline knew that the co-pilot crashed the Germanwings plane suffered from depression. We now know that. They knew that before that fateful day, but they argued they were not obligated to report that to aviation officials. The question is, should they have anyway? We'll get into that after this.